From the News Channel 5 network, this is MorningLine with Nick Barris.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on MorningLine. Nick Barris here. A good show on tap for you. I'm going to invite you all to call in. It's very likely, whatever the case, you're going to have an opinion on this on one side or the other. Of course, we're going to be following up on the decision yesterday to rescind DACA, of course, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, and what it means to many of these folks that live in this country right now, and what happens next. And today's not so much about expressing your opinion one way or the other on what you think of the president's decision, but more about, now that this has happened, where we go from here and what it means to a lot of these people and to Americans in general. We'll get the phone number up on the screen here in a moment, but we're going to try to do a couple of shows on this. And as I said, a lot of people have a specific point of view on this. The folks joining us today, I think you will pick up on the fact that they have a strong point of view. We're going to try to ask them some questions that many of you may have, and we'll allow them to express it. And we're going to have another program, provided we can get the guests to come on to talk about the other side of things. But joining us this morning to talk about it and where we go from here, Renata Soto. She's with Conexión Americas. You're executive director of that. You also said you wanted to say you are the chairman of the board, right, for Unidos US, and we'll let you explain. Oh, God. But I will allow you to at least clarify for our folks what those organizations do. Also, a well-known local attorney, Elliot Osmet, handles a lot of cases involving immigration issue and the like. Thank you for coming on, sir.
It's my pleasure.
Pleasure to have you both on. Okay, we know his background and legally what you do with a lot of your clients. As far as your organization you represent?
Conexión Americas is a local nonprofit. We have been around for 15 years, and we have been supporting Latino families pursuing their American dream here in Middle Tennessee, and that means we help families buy houses, start businesses, learn English, and help kids succeed in school and make sure that not only they graduate from high school, but they go to college. And that's why DACA is such an important tool that has encouraged so many young people to succeed and aspire for a bigger future thanks to this program. And that's why we're glad to be here to talk about the consequences for a lot of young people. And
that's what it's going to be about this morning. We invite you again to join in the conversation, 737-7587. I think it's safe to say that both of our guests this morning were very disappointed in the decision yesterday and where we go from here. But essentially, as this stands, we're talking, I don't know, do you have a count or a thought of how many of these dreamers are maybe here in the Middle Tennessee area?
So we know that there are more than 8,000 in Tennessee.
In Tennessee, okay.
And we know that a larger concentration of immigrants are in the Middle Tennessee area in Memphis. So we can estimate that a majority of those DACA recipients are in urban areas like Nashville.
And most of these recipients, again, so we should be clear, if folks weren't paying close attention, were individuals who perhaps came to this country with their parents as children.
All of them came as children.
Most
of them at age of 6 or younger.
Undocumented at the time with them, but they were brought with their parents. And their parents came here, and this was something that when no widespread immigration reform could happen under the previous administration, President Obama decided to more or less allow them to stay here without any concern about deportation. Now the president has rescinded this DACA, which means many of them now have 6 months to start figuring out what they're going to do, and they have to hope that Congress, I suppose, comes up with a law that allows them to stay, correct?
Yes, so these are children who came here very young, who have mostly known only this country as their own. Many of them only speak English. They are in high school already and college or already working. The average age of a DACA recipient is about 25. So these are really young people in the prime of their years of dreaming about a future or starting a family. And for them, what this announcement means is that, and Elliot can go into the specifics of actually when everybody is cut out, but basically you have DACA now and it expires in 12 months or 18 months. That's the end of it. Right now, the program allowed everybody to renew every 2 years. These are kids who came out, who went through a very stringent background process, who showed that they have no criminal record.
Yeah, these aren't criminals.
And that already came out and and sign up and say where they are, where they live, they're paying taxes, they're going to school, and now we are throwing them back in the shadows and shattering the dreams that they were already building in the last few years.
Are these people, though, here, and I understand what she's saying, are they here illegally?
They are present legally, but they have no legal status.
Okay.
There's an important difference between having legal presence and having legal status. If you have legal status, you have something like a green card or a U visa or TPS. But if all you have is legal presence, that means that you're not here illegally. In other words, your illegal time clock has now stopped.
Because of DACA.
Because of DACA.
Right.
And in some cases, it never started. If a person became a dreamer prior to their 18th birthday, then their illegal time clock never started. And so some of them have not accrued any illegal presence. But when they got their dreamer status, when they got their little card, that means their illegal presence stopped. But they have no legal status. What that means is they cannot change from dreamer to something else just because they're dreamers. The dreamer status led nowhere as far as permanent residency in the United States.
It's a temporary by definition.
Okay.
Only 2 years, and you have to renew every 2 years.
And you have to renew every 2 years. So the White House talking points that CNN got hold of and, you know, basically was sent out to the staff and how they're doing it, that they're urging DACA recipients to prepare for a departure from the United States, which is much starker than kind of what we heard the president saying initially about, you know, well, he loves the dreamers and he wants Congress to take steps. But the end of the program and a statement basically saying that they're going to have to prepare to leave the country. Department of Homeland Security urges DACA recipients to use the time remaining on their work authorizations to prepare for and arrange for their departure from the United States. It's got to be scary for a lot of them hearing that. Where are they going to go? Where are they going to go?
And that statement right there captures how morally irreprehensible is this call. Why would we want to throw away the creativity, the capacity, the ability of young people who, again, this is the only country that they know, who went to these background checks, who were allowed by the U.S. government to enter into a process and an understanding. And while we agree that Congress is the one that has to take this and once and for all give us immigration reform that protects its children and sees them as Tennesseans, as Americans that truly they are, that doesn't mean that we needed to end DACA as a tool to tell Congress that, you know, it's really your problem, you go fix it.
Yeah, ask why. And, well, Tennessee Representative Scott Desjardins issued a statement yesterday supporting the president's move and saying that the executive order under Obama had expanded work permits and other benefits to almost 1 million illegal immigrants, encouraging more illegal immigration across the southern border. And he says any solution to illegal immigration must include border security and domestic law enforcement, and that Congress has to write a law. And so he supports, that's, so you're asking why? That's why he's saying not only, you know, was this, you know, something that was wrong to have been done, you know, but also that it was something that encouraged more illegal immigration, in his opinion.
Do you want to talk about like the timeline where the people that had to come in at what age? It's not like, it was not that we were saying come young people to this country. DACA was very particular to people who were already here. This dreamer program had
a cutoff. You had to be either under or at the age of 15. You had to be in the United States before you celebrated your 16th birthday, and you had to be here on or before June the 15th, 2007.
Okay.
Now, if you arrived after that, you did not qualify for Obama's Dreamer program.
Okay, right there. All right.
And so there was no expansion of this program. Congressman Desjardins is wrong, as he usually is, on immigration matters. And he needs to go back and study the law and learn what the law really is about. And he's poisoning the atmosphere with propaganda and false statements about Obama's immigration program.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break because we have some calls coming in, and we're going to get into much more, especially where we go from here, what you're telling some of the folks that are calling you and are very concerned about where they're going to go and what they're going to do. So if you want to join in the conversation, 737-7587. We'll take a break. Be back with more calls right after this.
This week on Fishin' Affliction TV.
Okay, here's our 6 best from Kentucky.